Why don't universities teach software design? It's good. All right, my name's Chris Athanas. I'm a KMP developer. Tech support's coming out for that. I always like wondered what. So when I came back to software development after selling my company and taking about 8 years off, I came back in 2012. I would figured that they had solved this problem about how to design software to make it usable. It seemed like everyone had these techniques. They had the Agile, they had the Scrum, they had all this. I figured they had fixed it, and then academia has some breakthrough that I wasn't aware of because I completely eschewed tech after I sold my company in 2003. And, but 9 years, 10 years, I don't know, I took a while off. And I figured that they had kind of caught up to some of the techniques that we had been using because I heard about this Agile a little bit. And that was the first company I got into after I went to this boot camp to do Android. They were doing all this Agile Scrum stuff. I'm like, I guess this seems like a lot of activity around not a lot of stuff. So maybe I'm not seeing it right. No, it turns out after 10 years of searching and hunting, no, I was right. They hadn't moved any further than when I went to school and when I sold my company. And there was clueless then as they are now. Nothing's changed. It seems like there's been a lot of business trade secrets that are not going to be disclosed to academia because it's trade. We're talking about millions of dollars, right? If they actually let people know how to structure these teams and what was actually involved, they'd lose this edge. And I think there's also this psyop that happened with this Agile stuff because these businesses were struggling with this problem of how to create software that's maintainable and extensible, and multiple people could be cog people, and we could just swap them in and out. Oh, you know Agile? You could just swap into our projects. Well, wait a second there, buddy. Whoa, I mean, these aren't just standard ways of doing things. This is a clusterfuck of all kinds of stuff that it just made sense maybe at one time. It's with this other one company, but should not be used other than this category. And man, it's just been one thing after. Let's see what Frederick has to say about it.
Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about universities. So let's get into it. So the question was, hi Frederick, what do you think about the statement, you don't learn software engineering at university? Why don't reputed universities teach their students about software design? Because most of them don't know how to do that.
You think that? Having computer science departments, math departments, art departments, English departments, you would think that they would have somehow, after 70, 80 years of this computer stuff, 90 years, 100 years, 150, you would think they'd have some sort of methodology about how to put these things together. No, I have no idea. Throw their hands up. All we can do is syntax. We can show you the data structures and algorithms, and it's up to you to put those things together. Hey, good luck. We don't know what we're doing either. I think what happened was, because I had really one good teacher in computer science. It was at University of Texas San Antonio when I was like a sophomore. I was a sophomore at that time, maybe a junior. And I took his class. It was digital electronics. He was like, "Yeah, I don't really don't want to teach this class, but he says he'd rather teach the class, but every once in a while somebody come from industry tries to get him to come." And he was like the best teacher, one of the best teachers I've ever had. And he's like, they wanted to come make me do work on their project. I was like, I don't really want to work on your project. So he started $1 million. He's like, $1 million. And they said, that's ridiculous. And they would go down to $750,000. Like, and he would keep going down until they got a number that was above what he thought of in his mind. But he always started at this really big number. And he was one of the better teachers. He definitely knew how to do software engineering. I wish I would have been able to keep going to school there, but the economy failed like it just did. Like in 2023, I had the same issues in Texas at that time. Anyway, so he knew how to teach it. And I asked him some questions, but I wasn't really ready to hear what he had to say. But most of the stuff I'm documented. And in this document, in my How to Program from the Ground Up, I've showed a lot of the ideas. The main ways people have decided how to design software and some different techniques, different ways of thinking about things in human readable terms, English terms. And let me see if I can find. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here. This is what I'm talking about right here. So this is my How to Program from the Ground Up series, and this is the YouTube thing. These links right here the adventure driven document. Show you how to think about how to conceptualize software design. So it uses a box, it uses a line, it uses boxes within boxes, and boxes within boxes within boxes, and those all represent things. Whatever the people who are working on the project together tell them to repeat, whatever the domain is. There's all just little boxes and boxes, lines and boxes. That's all you need to learn. Why can't they teach that? They don't, because they don't know how. They never took my course. They didn't take my course about a program from the ground up. I've tried to simplify down all this stuff. It's free. Doesn't cost nothing. Just give me a star, would you?
And it takes years to get good as a software developer.
Well, if you have to just bounce your way through the industry, book to book, conference to conference, trying to begging like clean. Can we use a clean code? Is that it? Is it solid? Do we make it solid now? Is it OOP with C++ with everything in the kitchen sink? Anybody's crazy half-baked idea, just throw it in the language? Don't really think of if bitches or mashes or how to use it with other stuff. No, doesn't matter. Oh, okay. Like this has been a total cluster, right? It's been a madness. Kotlin, I think is for me, it's probably one of the best design languages I've ever used. They've definitely thought things out. And you can tell they've had 10 years working on it because it's all refined. And that's why I'm a KMP developer, because you have one platform for Android, for iOS, for web, for desktop, and that's Linux. That's Mac OS. That's Windows, and anything else, whatever else comes along, and then a watch, and whatever little phone comes along, KMP phone comes along. We're gonna use that for it. And then we have one language, one set of libraries, and the backend too. I forgot to mention that the backend, all the servers and all the stuff, that's all run in one language. Kotlin does all of it. You don't need to go to these other things. It's not necessary. Now you still have access to it, right? With Kotlin with KMP, you always have access to the native layer. You're running inside that. Okay, so
let me explain this a little bit. So there's a lot of this. Like I think that one of the favorite, and I think this has mostly to do with prestige, honestly. There's a favorite debate between everybody who wants to be a software developer and everybody else. Like the people that I work with, like we were talking about seniors, so like it's not necessarily just the people who are trying to become software developers. There is a prejudice even in my circles as well about university degree versus self-taught. It's always like
you're always self-taught, even if you're one of the universities. You should spend a lot of time on your own. The teacher gives you the assignment. You can come in and talk to him, go down through things. But eventually, it's like you got to kind of like click in, which my course is definitely gets you along that way because I bring you from the ground up, right? I bring you from the ground up with this thing. So, and I go from the switches and wires all the way up till VLSI chips and through the different languages that have come along and why they're being used, why they shouldn't be used, like pros and cons about all this stuff. So anyway, I wanted to make a course that was super refined that way, and that's a good step forward, is understanding how these machines work. But eventually, it's all self-taught. So I don't know about this whole self-taught, or do you mean like no school? Well, I mean, those schools are not going to do what people think they're going to do. I've gone to lots of different schools. Some were okay. It's really the teacher. The second best teacher, but the one that really helped me the most was a community college teacher. And the thing about community college is a lot of times they're there not for the clout. They're actually there because they like to teach stuff. But that's a little secret. They're not there to get the recognition of, I work at blah 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 state university, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, I work at Harvard. It's like, I'm going to teach you computer science and blah, a lot of random crap that you don't even need to know about. A lot of random details and noise and lots of overcomplicated complications. My course cuts to the quick. But okay, let's keep going.
Discussion about those two things. Is it better to go to a university, or should you just take some boot camps or something like that? And you've heard.
Depends who you are. It depends on who you are. If you need someone to help narrow you down, these are things you're going to need to know eventually along the lines, but not how to actually make your dream come true. You just want to learn the mechanics of it. Okay, boot camps or university is fine. Now, the thing about the boot camp is usually the people that are successful have already been twiddling with this stuff for like a year or two, right? And then they expect, okay, it's going to take me a little while. This boot camp is just a boot camp. It's not full thing, right? You're going to still have to work. And if you're lucky, if the market's right, you'll get a job someplace and somebody help train you. But oftentimes you're just going to have to do yourself. It's self-taught. So one way or another, you're going to have to be self-taught.
heard me say many times. I've used the term bootcamp level developer, and people keep on asking me why. Look, why are you trampling on people who take a bootcamp? Are you favoring universities? What is your stance? Are you university pro or bootcamp pro? And I go, I believe that people who have the knack and the passion and the will to become software developers will get there, regardless of if they go to university or bootcamp.
Right. If you're just there for the money, it's like, ooh, $120,000. That sounds really good. Yeah, but there's this other shit that you have to like go through. I don't know, 5,000 hours of bullshit to get there, and it's a lot of like dicking around with stuff that's like kind of annoying. Now I like it, and you probably like it too because you're watching this channel. But a lot of people that get into it, they're like, I just want an easy job. It's like, okay, when the market's really good, you can just pass the test. You do enough to pass the test. Okay, yes, that's great. But then the market's down like it is right now, and you still are into it. You're probably gonna do well.
Because this is a talent industry, as I've said 100 times now, and I will.
Talent. I hate that word talent. I think it's skill. It's like learning a skill. You have to study a bunch of crap and you have to like do a bunch of things. And if whatever that is, that builds up the skill and the interest, right? It's the skill plus the interest. That's what I call talent. Now, some people don't think this magical quality they can't get. It's like, well, the magical quality is giving a fuck. That's really the magical quality. It's like, do you care about how this stuff works? Or are you just trying to collect a good paycheck because you're sick of working at Starbucks? Right? It's understandable. I get it. And I've met lots of people in between. I've actually met really good programmers who just work at Starbucks and they want something better. Right? And they're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure they don't go back to Starbucks. Other people are like, I really kind of want to see this path. I have something tickling in my mind that someday, sometime, I'm going to be able to use this skill set to really go after some big dream. Or you have some big dream. You want to do your social media. You want to do your crypto, AI, blockchain, social media down here. You tar pit, a good idea. That's totally legit because you're going to have to go through all this stuff if you're going to actually make a legit run in and find a cave opening and dance with the dragon here, which is the customer, right? And all his needs, his crazy desires, and how he changes, he slithers around. He says, you got all these objections you have to overcome. It's like, you don't have RDMS. You don't get 2.7 megaseconds real-time access data. It's just too expensive, or it doesn't go into this. It's not translated to my thing, or there's another person that does it way better. And it's like, all that stuff. All that stuff you can get easily defeated by this thing. You got to go through that stuff. That's just how it is, man.
Well, I can write that on my tombstone.
So that's kind of where talent comes from, too. All the talented people I've already met have dicked around in these things for years. And still they're like, okay, I kind of still want to go for it, man. I still want to get up to the happiness zone. I want to go attack the monster, right? I want to go see if I can find a cave opening and attack the monster. They still got it in them. But most people like give up. They're like, 3 years of this crap. Fuck this. I'm out. This is too crazy. The technology's already changed twice. And I'm now doing these Jira ticket burn down charts. And I don't even know if this thing's going to be, this company's going to be going in a week. It's like all that kind of stuff. Oh my God.
It's a talent industry. If you go to any university, you have no guarantees that you're going to be a software developer.
Right.
None whatsoever. You only have pieces of paper showing that you completed a course. Just as the bootcamp developers, they don't have any guarantees either. Because, as I said, it comes down to you. How much work are you going to put in? Odds are that you won't get, and I have gone to guys, I've done both the bootcamps and I've done the university stuff as well. And I can tell you that the people from the university, they didn't all get work.
No, of course not. Of course not. All the boot camp people didn't go to work either. The best guy in one of the boot camps I just went to, this web one from Hack Reactor, the best guy in my group who was just killing it. He never learned JavaScript. He was a math major, though. Okay, that might have had something to do with it. But anyway, he was like autistic. I'm not autistic, but he was like kind of really on the autistic side. But he was the best, and he was funny, and he was super smart, and anytime there's a problem, he would like whip out the code in 4 seconds. I'm like, well, how do you do that? And you do these one-liners in like 4 seconds. You'd always be the first one done. And guess what? Didn't even apply once to a job afterwards. He's still living at home with his parents, working at a soap store. I'm not going to say which one, but he's working at the soap store. Last time I checked, I'm like, dude, what a waste. What a waste. And he was the best one. So it's not even that. It's not even being the best one. It's like having this heart of like, I want to use my skill set, not just to learn all the little things that computers can do, but to solve a problem and serve a customer so I can gain the golden chalice, which is like just clout that you did that thing. It's like, that's a lot of reason why Woz and all those guys at Apple, that's why Ken Thompson, a lot of the reason why he did it because he wanted to play show video games on stuff. And he wanted an OS that allowed him to do that. So that, and then he made, of course, they made made a lot of money, but that wasn't the main reason. They had this other thing going on, and that's what I think is when people are talking about talent, they're talking about that shit. Of like giving a rat's ass and wanting to do something because it's just something that's really, I would like to have that done, not just because I like collect a paycheck and pay my kids' dental bills and go on vacation a couple times a year and have a nice 401k. I mean, that's all right too. I mean, that gets us over the line as well. But I think when people talk about talent, they're talking about this other thing. It's like, okay, I'm trying to go after something different.
It's that simple. I have one of my classmates took the entire course again. Like he literally went back to school after not being able to.
Yeah, I see a guy did that. He went back to back. And he still didn't even apply. And he had all the training, he knew everything, but he just didn't have the guts. Whatever the reason is, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Get any job, and I'm not even sure if he ever got hired.
I'm just not that person, right? I am more of this guy. I'm more of the destroyer creator type. And most people, we just have to admit, right? It's just really tough for people that are in this category. So we're down here really seeing this other stuff and be like, why would you put up with that bullshit? Well, because most people just don't want to fucking dick with it, man. They just don't want to mess with it enough to really do all the things that we kind of want to do. That's a lot of hassle, man. There's a lot of risk that things might go wrong. You might make a mistake and fail.
Because he simply did not, either it was a talent thing or he didn't put in the work. I'm not going to say so much about that because I don't know, but he didn't have what it took to break into the industry, even with the university. Same thing goes for the boot campers. If you don't meet the expectations, then you're not going to get any work. Yeah. And so that's the thing that I tell people. I have tons of people that I work with that are self-taught, just as I have tons of people who took a university degree.
Just because you took a university, it's not like they download it into your brain. Yeah, the university, you're still self-taught. You just have someone there to maybe bounce ideas off that's sometimes not a dick, but oftentimes, guess what? Kind of is a dick.
And I've said this on a few occasions. These topics, guys, they usually only mean something when you're trying to become a software developer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
At my level, they don't even, it's like a joke. They don't, most of them don't look at, like at my level, they don't look at your prior, like your education. They look at how much work have you done, what roles have you had, years of experience, things like that. That's the thing that.
What problems have you tried to solve? How many times have you gone up the hill to the dragon? How many of these damn little tar pits, lava lakes, dungeon grinds, lead mines have you been in? Have you been in a silver horde? Have you seen a bunch of damn bugs? Can you be a good whacker? Can you be a good whacker? The code blaster? Where's that guy? Can you get there down in the pit and start? Where's the bugs? Where's the one with the bugs? I gotta find the one with the bugs. Here, can you be this guy down here? Just clearing out bugs, man. Just figuring out all the problem, whatever the problem is out there, there's like problems you cause, but like, is there a better way of doing this? Can you figure the new XYZ protocol, blah, blah, blah? It's like, yeah, I can get in there. And you only get that stuff from being down here in this junk. Or seeing like, we're going to do social media. Like, no, do not do social media. Okay, do some statistical things for social media people that want to we are trying to do their social media tools for them. Oh, yeah. But do your own? Are you crazy?
Matters. For juniors, it's a different story. And I will argue to you that it does not matter all that much. I usually tell people that if you want some help or have a more structured work environment, university can be a good thing. There are plenty of boot camps that are going to give you the same thing, but at the end of the day, guys, the university is just there, just as the boot camp. If you think that you're going to just take a boot camp and then you're done.
Well, the thing about the boot camp thing was there was a time where it made sense. But that time ended around 2019 or so, 2018, 2019. If you didn't get it in from them, from that kind of level of education, you weren't going to get it. Because the people who were in there running them became scam artists. And they were running scams. And they were boosting their numbers. And they were hiring people back and making it look like you're making all this money. And they really weren't. And most people didn't really go. The initial group, because the initial group, of course, let's be real honest, it was these guys. Already, right? So they got the early adopters in here, and by the time I started going, I was at the tail end of this thing because I was like, doing something else. I was goofing off. I was doing other stuff, and by the time I came into this thing, this hump was coming through, and there was like, okay, then it peaked, and then it fell off, right? And it's just like, okay, the laggards over here try to get in. It's like, I'm not getting a job. What's happening? Why is it going on? Because you have way too much room for improvement, or you're unacceptable. That's why. That's the reason why it wasn't. And the business started slowing down. Sorry, this is business cycle. Get used to it, hombre. This
like
is
now
how
you're a
it
professional
goes.
software developer. No. they're going to teach you the basics. They're going to give you introductions to all the concepts that you need to know about. But you're going to have to most likely work a lot in your spare time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. People think you just do the boot camp. I mean, there was such a high demand that for a while there, you just go through boot camp, go through the little silly coding exercise, and you're in, right? But then that ended, and you had to know more than that. And then the economy dumped out because the ZERP ended. After everyone was forced to go back to the office after the Rona ended, they weren't at home on their computer all day. Now they're actually in their office on their computer. And they weren't allowed to do the same stuff they were doing before when they were home. So, and they didn't get the free money and all that junk. Yeah.
Try your darndest to, at the very least, do get as much as possible out of the time that you spend at school and do quite a lot of stuff. And the reason why they can't teach you all that stuff in the university or the boot camp is because there's a million things to know.
That's true, but they don't even do the design part. They don't even show people how to go through and design, like, from a problem. So, okay, maybe 10 problems. How to break these things down and break them into process, and how these processes would be turned into computer code somewhere else. And you could do that because I have a video, hold on, about the universal application architecture, which is basically replacing these computer processing units with people that would be normally doing the job before we had computers. And you can look it up on my YouTube page. I might leave a link. I don't know. But it's the universal application architecture. It's just people sitting in desks at office. And if you send a message to them, they can do work, or send a message to somebody else. Or it's not hard. These aren't hard concepts. But they don't teach it because they never took my course. They never talked to me. They haven't reached out. I don't expect them to. They're failing anyway. It said mine did. It says, why are you using subject? Mine did. It was a terrible module. Yeah, no shit. I'd say the simple factor in university is one of their biggest strengths. I was surrounded by 90 plus people, at least from the start. It's bound to help you fresh out of high school self with a great deal of perspective. Not really. I would say no. I'd say those are the wrong people to have under your influence. Now, if you have 90 go-getters that are all kind of on the same page and doing computer science stuff, and they kind of want to do this adventure-driven, maybe. But even then, who's the teacher? What have they been through? Have they been down these pits? Or they just graduate and have such good grades and know the system super well that they become a teacher's assistant, then a assistant professor, then a professor. And did they really go down in here, do all this crap? Do they even know what the industry is? Why don't they teach testing? No, never heard of it. They don't teach testing. Why don't they teach Git? Why don't they teach source control? They don't teach any of that stuff. They're still teaching stuff from the 90s. It's so sad. And people go into these environments like, yeah, you kind of have to learn all that stuff on your own. Like, learn that stuff on your own. That stuff, each one of those is super complicated, difficult to understand. Why are we doing it this way? And then how would people have used it? So it's like Git stuff. There are all kinds of crazy people doing all kinds of crazy things with Git. And you're just checking in changes. Really? When you have all those merges and branches and all the branching strategy. It's like, really? Okay, listen. So that having full access teachers, a lot more experience. Okay, do they have more experience? Really? I found it very rare that any of my teachers had any of this experience in the real world when I was doing the computer stuff. I had those two teachers. One was a community college guy that I got random, who was actually quite good, so taught me assembly language. We wrote a print driver and a print spooler. A print driver and a spooler in assembly. It was super cool. And then the other guy was the digital electronics one. And other than that, I don't think anybody actually worked in business. So this, I don't know. I don't know if this is what Rav is saying here. Ravs N994. Reminds me of Romanian quote, I'll no longer doubt butchers. Some things are either lived at the right time or never at all. A quick boot camp or going straight to a job will have you skip that step. I don't know about that. My theory is that slow introduction to life university gives you soft skills with the actual technical skills that people go into university for. No, these universities, they advertise like, oh yeah, you're going to get a job and you're going to be really good. We're going to train you and all sorts of stuff. So that's not what they're selling. They're selling this technical skill set for a job because people are broke. So we have lost. So really, I think computer science and the stuff that we do, not the computer engineering, like not building those system operating systems and all this high level stuff. Even though for this, I think it should be like a blue collar, like a it's like a light blue collar big job because it really is a lot of dicking around with crap that's pointless. And a lot of just like just grinding out stuff. and psychology. So I think it's in between the two. It's not just this hypothetical stuff. So this is my theory is okay. That's just hypothesis for experience. Would you say that the cause of the case of social direction is uni and boot camp? Well, because of the uni people, they're going for almost full-fledged experience, right? And the boot camp's like, I just need a goddamn skill so I can stop being a barista at Starbucks and I can afford to move out from my house or having 4 roommates. I'm trying to live by myself for a little while to have 4 roommates. What are you talking about? I'm just looking at my thumb up. Hi, Frederick. Where you live? Personal life is so cool. Yeah, he has done that before.
There's no way that you're going to. It's like asking why can't a university teach a doctor to be a surgeon?
Well, they do, don't they? Don't they do that? I thought they do. I thought that universities do teach doctors to be a surgeon. But learning surgery, even though it's an artistic skill, is extremely scientific and precise. And even though there's variations between body and body, you have to be intelligent, know where everything's at. It's a very refined thing, right? It is something you can train over and over and over and over and over again. It should be something that the university should be well attained because it's like a production environment. Yes, there's a tiny little bit of art involved and definitely lots of skill, but it's more like putting if you golf. So like if you did the same putt over and over, that putt was super important and you had to put it in the hole every single time. Yeah, I think they would be able to teach that. But artistic, how to handle problems in a better way that somebody else has figured them out, I don't know, man. I think computer science really needs to be more psychological, more emotional, more caring about how people have to deal with your system and how you see it and how they're supposed to navigate through it and how and maybe like detecting when your system is causing people stress by going into some sort of loop. Oh, confirm your email. Email not confirmed. Okay, press here to confirm your email hasn't been sent. You have 10 minutes to check. It takes it's gotten there. Oh, is it checked your spam? Have you checked your spam filter? Your email is not confirmed. Did you click on it? Like you click on email? The email's been timed out. Now you have to go reconfirm. It's like all that stuff. Really? Come on now.
Well, because some things are so difficult and take so much time, and it requires hands-on practice to learn that it's not possible for a standard education program to give you that. You might have to go several iterations before you get there. Why can't?
Then don't lie. Then don't lie to people and tell them you could do this in 4 years. It takes 7. Tell them it takes 7, and don't like we don't add it because it'll take too much time. No, they take time for doctors. So if that's how long it takes, that's how long it takes. I think a lot of this university stuff does to go a little too slow. I think they extend it out to the time allotted. What's the name of that? What's the name of that fallacy when you do something time allotted? Yeah, here it is. Parkinson's law is the adage that work will expand to fill the time allotted for its completion. Deadlines can cause procrastination and prompt to people to fill the time with trivial matters. And that's exactly what's happened, right? So if boot camps can do it in 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, can't you do that same level of effort and do it in the 4-year period and teach us other stuff about software design and doing data-driven design where you're designing your product so the words inside match the problem at hand, not some extracted weird code language. And they don't even teach that part. It's like that seems so obvious. Like it kind of makes sense when you say it out loud. It's like. So the words inside the code, like if it's an order in the code that represents an order in real life, it's not ORXYZZ-511. And that's how we used to do stuff, man.
And the university teach you how to become a doctor, like a doctorate, or getting a doctorate in a field or something like that. Well, because it's a level of education that requires something that is outside of the boundaries of what the standard education will give you. It's why doesn't elementary school or like basic education give you a university diploma? Well, because there has to be a cutoff point.
Right, I get that. There has to be a cutoff point. But the thing is, they're advertising as they got the whole thing done. And people come out and go, why can't you do the thing? It's, well, I don't even know. What are you talking about? All we learned was syntax. All I know is data structures and algorithms. I'm just going to operating system debugger. I don't know anything about Git. I don't know anything about Git.
Somewhere we have to say, yeah, this is in scope, this is not in scope. And so this is
I don't know anything about testing. Don't make me write a dumb test. These are the tests they write are all super tight. The implementations, everything's super brittle, hard to change. It doesn't make any sense. I can go to look at the test like, what do we do? What are you describing here? What is this? What is this dividing? What is going on? You're testing if arrays work? Okay, yes, we can assume the arrays work.
That's why I tell people that just going to university doesn't guarantee you that that's going to be a good university or that you're going to get a good education. Same as the bootcamp. It's really just different approaches to getting the foundations in place. That's the thing that you should be looking for in your university and with your like boot camps or whatever you're picking, right? The foundation skills are what you're looking to get. And because once you
Yeah, but you don't need to go 4 years for that. That's my point. These boot camps have proven you can learn the syntax and everything in 6 months, 4 to 6 months, right? Now it takes you longer to learn how to actually create applications. But if you're doing 4 to 6 months to get a junior role and you know someplace will hire you, that's a big risk. You're asking a lot. But if you took that 6 months, right, and did all that boot camp type of stuff instead of extending it out to 3 years, and then you use the rest of that time to actually build real products, real problems, or some standardized set of problems that show you the kinds of ways we will design a software. So when you get out in the real world, do you have an idea of where these things are coming from? And you're using Git and source code control and all these different tools to communicate, Zoom, blah blah blah, and all these different. And you try out some of these different techniques like mobbing and pair programming and stuff like that, as opposed to arguing in the PR section. Come on.
you have that basic training, that really, really bare bones stuff, then you need to make yourself into a junior programmer. And usually you become a junior programmer by practicing yourself, fiddling around with like hobby projects and exploring new technologies and playing around with different tools and things like that, and then listening to guys like me and people who are
and building stuff and you're going out and finding a problem where you can apply it, even if it's for free. Maybe a graffiti tracker for around town. So you just collect graffiti GPS photos and upload them. I mean, you do it for free. Find something to do for free that's a real problem that people want, and find a user that way you can talk to. That will hyperspeed it, rather than I'm just at home like Frederick. I just go hack it by myself with new tools and technologies. Which I hate that word, technologies. It's just software libraries. It's just software, right? I like to play with different software. It's like, no, you have to solve problems. See, adventure driven is all about finding the cave opening, which is a problem that you have the ability to solve, and then trying to solve it. Like with the problem, this is the customer's desires, needs, requirements, and you're trying to solve that. And just doing the attempt, you're going to learn way more than just dicking around in these different environments for years.
or 100 times better at this stuff than I am, to sort of get the hint of, okay, cool, I've been playing around with this stuff, but this guy here or that girl there, they're doing this and that, I should check that out as well. That you continue your learning on your own volition, because that is, as I said, that's the thing that gets you hired usually. People don't hire junior software developers because they're super, super massively skilled. They hire them because they have passion, potential, and they know those basics that I've been talking about. And that's all you get from boot camps. That's all you get from the university, if they're good now. Because, I mean, you can have a bad boot camp, you can have a bad university, they teach you irrelevant bullshit for education. It's hard to say.
Most of them went bad because they saw all the money, and a lot of them just gone under, right? Because this is what happens to them. The natural cycle of a boot camp is in the early days, the first few instructors are usually outstanding. And that's how you hear about them. And so those people that graduate are exceeding expectations. And they tell their people, and they use that, sometimes handpick people, to then bring in the help. This is where they make the money. Yes, there's a money-making deal, man. This is what these people are doing. So this will attract the people who looking to grift, and they're going to copycat this thing, and they're going to steal materials. That's a big thing, and they're going to use those materials to then bring in the next people, which are going to be okay. They're going to be okay. These people that are going to do the first round copycats are going to be decent, and these guys are going to be acceptable. But the people that come in after it, come on now. Oh, that's a bad boot camp. It's like, come on, man.
But assuming that they are good educations and good institutions, they will give you those basics. But the rest of it, like bridging the gap between those basics and getting to a level where people will take a chance on you, that's mostly down to you and your own steam.
For sure.
So what I want you to take away from this
is... For sure. And people don't want to do that because it takes a lot of initiative, takes a lot of energy. You're not getting paid for it. There's no dopamine. That's why it's like when you're trying to like do a problem for somebody else, you get a little dopamine because you're helping them out. And if you don't have that kind of thing coming through, you're probably not going to be liking software development. I don't care how much they pay you. They're eventually just be like, I hate this job.
That the reason why you don't learn software engineering, I completely agree with the statement. You don't learn it at the university, but you don't learn it in boot camps either. You learn it by doing. You will get the basic education from a university or a boot camp, but this is a talent industry, guys. It's the same thing with sports or something like that, where you can go and practice football or hockey or something like that, but the difference between that and making it into the major leagues or like becoming a professional comes down to your own steam. How much are you going to invest? There are
So it's an investment thing. How much do you want to dick with it, right? How much do you want to go around and mess with all this stuff, doing the tutorials, personal projects, your junior level middle roles, and your senior lead roles, and you're doing all this stuff down here, and get tunnels of fake agile doom and scrum coach death marches of card cults. Yeah. And you want to keep going? It takes a special kind of person, man. It takes a special kind of person to want to go keep going after all that.
Materials are there, everything is there for you. You just have to go out and hunt for some of the stuff that can't be included in every single education because there's simply too much of it. You can't take one.
No, there's enough of it. I mean, it's capable. Frederick, they have the capability. I am not the first person to discover these things, right? Because of the boot camps, right? But they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. The university people, they want to have, they're super preserver types. So they want to have everything that 100% works and all this other stuff, right? They're not really willing to let go of some things like you might have to cut some stuff. Maybe we don't do operating systems in computer science. Maybe we let that one go and we just do something else instead, which is how to use these tools to serve problems. And maybe for the computer engineering minor, then you learn the operating system, all that low level stuff. Maybe we don't need to know that stuff, right? Maybe we can, there's a different thing that we can be doing now, and that's what I'm saying.
Course and then know everything about software engineering. Some stuff due to the fact that there's not enough time, and some stuff due to the fact that you will only learn how to.
Oh, that was my point. We have time. It's just they don't want to change. They're like 25 years behind. These schools, the boot camps are like 5 years behind. Boot camp's 5 years behind. The university's 25 years. The university's about to go away. The boot camps will still be around, and you're just gonna have to maybe this AI stuff will help, but I don't even know if that's gonna be the thing because I don't even know if people know that this is a thing that should be taught. It's not clear to me. I've never heard of it. I have to dig really hard to go find people that are talking this way about software development. They're always like, "Oh, gotta use Node or what's your backend is," and blah blah. It's like that's the least of the problems. Reduce that to one language, and we move on. We'll set of libraries and move on to the problem and start dicking around with the tooling.
Do that when you actually work with it, when you actually do the thing yourself, and that's the thing that you should focus on. I don't think that you will ever find a university or a bootcamp that is so advanced that it's going to teach you everything that now you're sort of ready to call yourself a professional. But they will give you the basics, and if you look around a little bit, there are plenty of people who are going to give you hints and tips on what to look at above the thing that you're doing in the university or the bootcamp, so you learn a well-rounded set of skills that will lead to getting someone to take a chance on you in the industry because you have potential and hunger and all talent and all this sort of stuff.
Right, but I think if you had the ability, you're already showing, you already had these projects done that you did your own way, with your own flavor, your own style, and everything, then you don't have to go, "Oh, please, sir, may I have a job? May I have a job?"
I've been talking about, and when you get to that level, then getting to be a software developer is not that much of a leap anymore. Have a great day.
All right, I will, Frederick. I appreciate you, man. All right, yeah. So that's why they don't teach design because they don't know. Got confirmation finally. I would discuss this with people like they're not teaching because they don't know. It's like, oh no, they have all kinds of things. They got those operating systems, house robes. They got classes, and it takes 4 years. Yeah, okay. Give me a like and subscribe.